Stop reporting about office burnout? Okay, done, by user insider SS. My field of work has a high turnover and high burnout rate. As a result, my company promotes transparent conversations with staff members to ensure we are all implementing self-care, taking PTO as needed, and asking for managerial support when overwhelmed with tasks. Last year, my work began to suffer. I was struggling losing two close family members suddenly, and was transparent in hopes they would understand why I was withdrawn and had lower productivity. My manager wrote me up as a result of my burnout, citing that I was using R1:1s inappropriately, causing stress among the team with my grief, and talking about being burned out too much. The write-up included every single 1:1 documentation of when I asked for help with burnout. Management instructed me to stop talking about burnout. No problem. I stopped bringing up burnout, being transparent, and asking support. About 2 months later, I request a 7-week leave of absence, citing extreme burnout and mental health issues. Management was shocked, and angry that I did not tell them I was struggling or burning out. I handed them a copy of my write-up and said the action plan I received stated I could not talk about burnout anymore. Management was scolded for inadvertently creating a hostile work environment where staff couldn't ask for support. I got 7 weeks off and partial pay, and they had to cover my job for that entire time I was out. You demand to carpool in my car? Buckle up, cupcake, by user Kansas Shazid. Was working for a biz as a principal firmware engineer, commute was an hour each way on the best days. Leased an EV which would barely get me there and home, but was carpool lane qualified. New coworker lived nearby and proposed that we carpool so we could use the carpool lane and save him maybe 20 minutes. Wasn't about to ride with him in his car, due to his poor vision and subsequent lack of situational awareness. He asked if he could ride with me in my EV. Declined as I didn't need him to use the carpool lane and his added extra bulk might exceed the limited range of that early EV. He complained to our manager, who demanded that I accommodate him. Be a team player for once, don't you know? Decided to offer carpooling with him in my pumped-up Rista Mod 71 Datsun 240Z on a Friday morning. Turns out that he didn't like the volume of my music, the velocity of my car. He ended up taking an Uber home that evening and never bugged me about carpooling again. Yay team! Okay, my turn now, by user Important Lime 7461. Years ago, I worked at a department store that was known for gimmick promotions. This particular promotion was spend $50 and get this frying pan for $5, it was a quality item worth more. But, one per customer. Management stressed that because they didn't receive a large quantity. One day a lady says I spent $150, can I get 3 of them? Politely I said no, it's 1 to a customer. She throws a hissy fit and demands to see the manager. I call him and he arrives, chats with her, then tells us to give her 3 pans. Okay. He leaves, another customer comes up and asks how many can I get? My reply was how many can you carry? My coworker said we can't do that, but I did, and did that to every customer that asked. We ran out of pans quick. Manager became more thoughtful about embarrassing employees in front of customers after that. Absentee boss wants me to increase the daily order against my suggestion. You got it, by user Lorg Skygon. I used to work at an upscale-ish cafe. I was a supervisor and in charge of the bakery section. There was also a kitchen and a coffee bar. Now Mother's Day was our biggest day of the year by a huge margin. Like it would be close to triple our daily sales for a regular Sunday. Most mid-grade holidays would also be busy. And after every big holiday sales day, the sales the next day would be around 50 to 60% of normal, so I would order about 2/3 of my regular order for that Monday. Now our owner was somewhat absentee from our store. She owned 5 locations, 4 of which were in the same city. Ours was the outlier, in a smaller location about 2 hours away. She spent almost all of her time at the 4 locations and maybe visited us once a month. This month, she just happened to come on the day after Mother's Day. I can add that of all the employees, only the assistant manager liked the owner. Even the manager couldn't stand her. She saw that my bakery case was somewhat low and asked why. I explained that the day after holidays was always slower and I ordered less because I didn't want to waste money. She told me never to do that again. She in fact told me to double my normal order. Now I had been in this job for 4 years by this point and I knew that bakery section inside and out. Also at this point, only the manager and one of the cooks had been there longer than me. Even the manager told me that things were always better when I was there. I always stayed late to cover call-ins, often came in on my day off if they needed me. I even once drove a catering delivery 90 minutes each way to satisfy a loyal customer. I told the owner that today was a special circumstance and that doubling the order would lead to a lot of food waste and recommended that we not do it. With my regular daily orders, we usually ran out only near the end of the day, barring unforeseen circumstances, like someone coming in and doing a big pastry order without notice. This was from a lot of trial and error over the years, and I changed my order up whenever things looked like they were changing. But she insisted, even after the manager also told her that our regular order was fine. I tried again to tell and she just told me to do it. My manager also said it by that point. So I did it. I doubled my regular order. After about 2 weeks, she emailed me and asked why we were throwing out so many pastries every day. I told her that she told me to double my order. At that point, my boss says, she wanted to fire me. My boss convinced her that she needed me to help run the store, which she probably did. So I wasn't fired, but I lost my position as bakery lead. I was still a supervisor who mostly worked the bakery section, but I no longer ordered product. Still the same wage, but I was switched from mostly mornings to mostly nights. While I did miss my morning regulars, I also enjoyed making the same money for less responsibility. About 6 months later, the manager quit to go back to school and the place went downhill fast. As I said, everyone working there hated the owner, except the assistant manager, who had quit about a month before this for a new job. As soon as this happened, I started looking for a new job even though I hated changing jobs. So did a number of others. Everyone was loyal to the manager, nobody to the owner. I took a supervisor job at a nearby restaurant and never looked back. I'm told by some co-workers who are still there that it became difficult to get through the day without me and the manager there, and we lost lots of sales for over a year before they started picking up again. You want the chocolate soft serve on the right side of the cup? I'll give you the chocolate soft serve on the right side of the cup, by user IC_Cress1442. I originally posted this in r/traumatizeathemback and it was suggested that folks in this subreddit would enjoy my story too. This was from a couple of years ago when I worked at a small cafe. It had a soft serve machine that served vanilla and chocolate with a nozzle in the middle to serve both flavors swirled together, and there was this one customer who always made a big deal about the soft serve he ordered. He would come in just for the soft serve and there was always something wrong with it. He would ask for toppings and then complain that it was either too much or too little and then ask us to serve him a new cup with the right amount. As if this nitpicking wasn't annoying enough, one day he decided he wanted both flavors, so my coworker served him the chocolate vanilla swirl. The guy said it was wrong, that he didn't want the flavors mixed together, so my coworker served him a new cup with chocolate on one side and vanilla on the other. The guy then says it's still wrong, that he wants the chocolate on the right side of the cup. My coworker was a 17-year-old kid who got all flustered, apologized, and then served him a new cup after struggling to figure out which side of the cup was the right side. After that, I made it my mission to make sure and help this guy the next time he came in. I didn't have to wait long because he was back the following week. He had a smug smirk on his face and asked for a vanilla and chocolate soft serve, so I got him a vanilla and chocolate soft serve with each flavor on a different side. I slid it over the counter to him. He looked at the cup and his smirk disappeared. I asked if anything was wrong and he said no, but then a second later the smirk was back and he said that he wanted the chocolate on the right side of the cup. I told him okay, no problem sir, and turned the 180 Cuban pesos degrees. I looked him straight in the eye, gave him my own smirk and told him there. The chocolate is on the right side now. Anything else I can get for you today? His smirk disappeared again and didn't come back this time. He said no, it's fine. Thanks. He picks up his cup. I charge him for his soft serve and he leaves without another word. The minute he's gone, my coworkers burst into laughter and I told them that if he ever tries pulling that right side stuff again to just do what I did, that we weren't going to waste any more soft serve on him. That guy didn't come back after that day, at least not during my shifts there. Maybe he figured out we weren't going to let him mess with us anymore. What his deal even was. Maybe he just enjoyed complaining and watching us bend over backwards for him. Whatever it was, I was just glad I was able to traumatize him enough to not come back.